Alright, let's talk about King Flame. This boss I absolutely hated. His hitbox was super crazy. His attacks were super staggered. It took me forever to beat this boss. It really does test the perfect parry system and the perfect guard system. So if you are not up to speed with those mechanics, this boss is going to be a nightmare for you. So with that being said, I'm going to give you some tips and tricks to help you defeat this boss so that you guys can progress through this game and not be stopped by this guy for too long. So with that being said, let's get into it. So with this boss, there are going to be two separate phases like many of the bosses that you've come across so far. The first phase is going to be a much more melee heavy phase, and the second phase is going to warp into a ranged battle where you have to constantly dodge fireballs and you have to move in close to him or it's going to be very difficult for you. So let's look at phase one. There are going to be a few attacks that he does that are going to be very easy to parry and or dodge out of the way of, but there are going to be a few that I want to draw your attention to because they tripped me up so much that I wanted to break my controller in half. The first move I'm labeling is the stomp and kick. This is where he slams his fist into the ground, drawing your eye to it, and then he kicks you right in the face. The follow-up attack to this kick is one that will completely obliterate you, and you will waste so many pulse cells trying to recover from this. This is the most disrespectful move I've ever seen a boss do to a person in a video game, and I absolutely fell for it every single time. There was never a time that I did not fall for that, so you want to make sure that you avoid that at all costs. If you see that slam, all you need to do is dodge backwards to avoid it, or get your perfect guard up immediately as you see it. The rest of the attacks that he does in this first phase are pretty easily avoided because he telegraphs them pretty well. You just have to get your timing down. Like I said at the beginning of the video, this boss fight is really going to test your guard and your parry. That being said, you still need to be very careful about the attacks coming from above because those are the ones that are going to knock you on the ground, but if you can parry them, you're going to be fine. There is one unblockable attack that he does where he will turn red and then he will charge at you with his fist running across the entire room. You really just have to walk out of the way of it or dodge to the right and he will be able to go right past you, run after him, and start hitting him again. Now moving into phase 2, there's going to come a time where he turns red and charges across the room, except he will stop and kind of bend over. That is signifying that he is about to dump fire all over the ground going into phase 2, and you need to sprint away from that fire because it's going to only have a certain area that it's going to encompass, and if you stand too close, you are going to get the overheat debuff, and if that procs on you, you're going to have to dodge a ton to get it off using up your stamina. So as I said earlier, phase 2 is going to be much more of a ranged battle if you don't close the gap. Once he's done pouring fire all over the floor, he's going to then start shooting you if you're too far away with oil balls that if he ignites will explode, causing a bunch of fire damage to you, or he's going to be shooting fireballs at you until you close the distance. If you do want him to close the distance and he's across the room, all you need to do is stand behind one of these giant metal columns and he should run over and either charge through them or walk over slowly so you can close the distance very quickly when he's on the other side of the pipe. There is also a possibility once more of him to bend over again and put fire all over the ground when you're close to him, and you just have to book it to get away or you're going to get that overheat debuff. Overall, final thoughts for this boss. There are definitely a few things that you can do to help yourself out. Number one, go to the training dummies at Hotel Krat and get your block timing down perfectly for those attacks. The block timing definitely on this boss is incredibly important, and the perfect guard is going to get you the win no matter what. You can also go to this merchant right here and pick up some electric blitz for cheap. I definitely recommend you do that. He's the very first merchant you get before you get to the Parade Master puppet, and equipping this effect on your weapon is going to cause more damage to this boss. And guys, that is going to be it for this boss tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you're getting value out of these tutorials. I'm really enjoying doing them, and I am absolutely loving Lies of P so far, and more videos are to come. So if I missed anything, leave it down in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that sub button, hit the bell notification so you guys can know when I'm making more videos. I got Elden Ring and Lies of P videos coming out for the remainder of this year, so if that interests you, look forward to seeing you around, and until next time, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.